Hello there, my friend. Welcome. Welcome to our rest stop. You must speak up. My hearing's not what it used to be. May I interest you in our rich menu of food and drink? My wife makes the best skewered lizard on this side of the third demon world, I swear. You can talk to her about it in front of the building. We have a lot of people here today, you see. Oh, you're not hungry? Well, then maybe you could take a look at our assortment of goods. Only 500 dokoro for a full set of medibugs, I swear. They are truly amazing and can greatly expand your capabilities. And if you are feeling lonely and yearn for some sort of companionship, why not buy a Cyberman seed or two, We still have some. They've become harder and harder to come by, though. No? Oh, you drive a hard bargain, my friend. Maybe at least you will want a souvenir. This is a very picturesque part of the valley. We have postcards and cups and... no. I mean, well, I can help you with a sky seed, but what's the rush? We can offer you a room, and you seem pretty tired. What's that? Under the counter? I don't understand what you're implying. I mean, a few dokoro might help me with understanding, if you catch my drift. Slightly more? More? Oh, okay, that's enough. All right, you don't seem like the gendarmerie-loving type, so I can show you the most interesting thing I came across lately. Follow me. Now, careful. Watch the steps. All right, down here. Watch the head. No, not your head, my friend. The mounted one over there. It is for sale if you are interested. Oh, no, never mind. All right, help the old man over here, will you? We need to push that shelf. Oh, there we go. Once again. Watch your step. It might be a little bit dark over there. Here we are. Right to the spot, my friend. You see this giant orb-like contraption? This is our latest find, and it could be yours for, let's say, 15,000 dokoro. How do we manage to get it down here? Well, wouldn't you like to know? It's a trade secret, which I may share with you, if you decide to purchase, and, it appeared one night, you see, if you want to know. At first we thought it was a meteorite or something, but my wife realized, she's very, very cunning, you know. It was moving closer and closer, and it appeared to be flying faster and faster. So, admittedly, once it crashed, we just had to check it out. Not many gendarmerie outposts over here, you see, so they weren't to know. Maybe we should have told old King Kadan about it, but we haven't had a chance to inform him, you see, so what are we supposed to do? Wait, are you one of his... No, an appendant buyer. You seem quite respectable. How does it work? Well, not quite sure, you see, but I bet a smart fella like you will be able to figure it out in no time. I like you, so I'm going to lower the price to 14,500 dokoro. What would you say to that, Well, speak up. The hearing thing, remember? What do you mean, what's inside? I don't know what you're talking about. It was empty, I swear. All right, maybe it wasn't, but that's between you and me, my friend, all right? So, as I already told you, we went to check on this weird thing, this falling star meteor orb thingy, my wife and I, you know. She's very, very smart. In hindsight, maybe it was kind of silly, but it was a while since we had guests. You can feel very lonely out here in the boonies, so we went to investigate. I swear, we were not thinking about scavenging things or anything, no, well... Maybe a little bit. I mean, if it was some sort of a treasure, we were the ones that had found it, so finders keepers as far as I'm concerned. Surely that would have meant something, right? Anyway, I'm rambling. You don't care about any of those details, my friend, I can tell. So, we approach it and see that orb thing. My wife says to me that maybe it's some kind of egg, but very quickly we realized it wasn't. It was a vessel, a plane, spaceship, something like that. But we are thousands of years old, you see. We haven't seen a lot of those since the Glind left, but you surely already know that. Sorry, where was I? Oh yes, the weird pod thing. So, we approached it slowly, and then something came out of it, you know. We could not quite believe our eyes when we laid eyes upon it, but there was some kind of ape child. We were kind of shocked to see an entity like this, but... It was very wild and trusting. But my wife, the bleeding heart that she is, had managed to tame it slightly with a little bit of food. It had a very ravenous appetite, you see. Who knows when the last time it ate? Also, it had the weird armor, you know. It looked very military-like, if I say so myself. No, it didn't look anything like from the second or first demon worlds, before you ask. Oh, I've already said too much to you, my friend, but are you able to keep a secret? Just nod or shake your head if you can. All right. Right. Well, we have reason to believe it's not a margin. Yes, I know it sounds crazy, right? But it doesn't have spiky ears. It doesn't seem to have any kind of magic about it, and everything about it feels alien to me. I don't know how it got here, my friend. We are as shocked as you are. But that is what it appears to be. I've told you everything. I absolutely swear. What? You want to buy it? I don't really know. Selling a creature seems wrong. Like first demon world wrong. Not something we would do, if you catch my drift. We do not do any sort of trafficking over here, even of the non-margin variety. And this is not some kind of animal, you know. Besides, my wife's gotten used to the little bugger. Our kids have moved away ages ago, like literally ages ago, but I don't know. We're not even sure what it eats, besides everything, apparently. Wait, how much? Could you repeat that? I think it's a hearing again. I mean, yes, obviously we can give it to you for adoption, but you know as much as I like the sound of Dokuro, I'd rather know if the little guy is going to be okay, okay? I do have a conscience underneath all of the bartering. No, I'm not insinuating that you aren't capable of taking care of... Well, I've got to go talk to my wife. I hope you will understand that, my friend. I will be in touch with you in just a moment. The traveller was watching as the rest stop gent, as the man was called, ran up the stairs. He had a lot of spunk for a Margin his age, and despite his malfunctioning hearing, he was rather dexterous. Probably never had to pay a life tax then, clearly. Things right now weren't looking well with King Dabura had been gone for so long, and his lackeys were sort of doing whatever they pleased, or whatever their function would allow them. But this was something new. This was definitely new. There had been rumours that something had somehow managed to get past Sir Warp and land out here in the desert of the Third World. Luckily, the situation was chaotic enough that the gendarmerie wasn't around to check up on it. After all, it mostly resembled a fable of locals rather than anything substantial, something to take seriously. But the traveller had learnt to never ignore a good rumour, even if it was nonsensical. After all, the source of such a rumour could be very interesting in of itself. Someone could always use something like that as some kind of a smokescreen. They looked at their reflection in one of the glass jugs that were filled with some less than legal liquids. They made sure to adjust their mask and hood, which kept their identity hidden. A lot of the stuff that this couple held could have gotten them in massive trouble with the gendarmerie. Then again, margin like that, it was a useful asset, as it were. In the best case scenario, taking both the pod and its inhabitant would have been ideal, but that would also attract some unwanted attention. The traveller would have taken this ape child instead. They would have concealed their true nature though, just in case they were to meet up with the police. Suddenly, the steps became louder and louder, and the rest stop gent returned, breathing heavily. "All right, my friend," he said. "Let's talk business." The traveller nodded slowly and placed their massive pouch filled with Dokuro right there on the counter. There was an air of tension as the old man started slowly counting the money. Before he got to any substantial sum, the traveller spoke with the voice heavily filtered by the mask. "I want to see the passenger first." The initial encounter wasn't particularly fruitful, as this little spiky-haired entity was rather untrustful toward the traveller. It took a moment to move him away from the rest gent's wife, who grew extremely protective over him. It took a longer moment of convincing from her husband that the client was wealthy enough to take good care of the kid. It became almost immediate, very obvious in fact, that transporting both the child and this particular pod was not going to be a possibility. The traveller had managed to inject the boy with something explaining that it was some kind of medicine that would put him to sleep during the transport so that he may not be scared or maybe injure himself in the panic. And they assured the couple that they will be back for that pod of theirs as well in due course. As the transaction came to an end, the traveller gently picked up the child and left the rest stop. They would be back in a week or so for the ship.
Hopefully, it was worth the price that had been afforded him. They knew that the couple would observe their deal, at least for a moment, so it took a good long moment when their walk became more relaxed. Now, where did they leave that transport? As they recognized the cavern, they slowly approached it. There was a particular hookah in there, shaped similarly to a broom. Dr. Arinsu finally removed her disguise, smiling slightly at the sleeping child. "Let's take you to my laboratory, shall we?" she cackled as she secured her new passenger to a vessel. While Arinsu was sure that she hadn't been seen, she had to reapply the sedatives to the boy on more than one occasion. She knew how to do some tests, and to her surprise, the readings were very astonishing. According to the data that Arinsu possessed in the laboratory, this thing was a type of mortal life form known as a Saiyan. Once upon a time, its kind was much more powerful, particularly one of them. Its genetic makeup made them very adaptive and being able to reach insane levels of strength by surviving near-death experiences or rigorous training. This child could have proven to be a very potent weapon for the demon realm if it was applied properly. This would have allowed Arinsu to obviously create a perfect soldier for the king to send out against their enemies. But, Arinsu thought, Goma would have taken all the glory for himself if she did that. Back in the day, Dabura would have approved of her projects, but nowadays, Rimus only knew where he was at that point, or if he would even return. But a soldier with such immense power, it could allow Arinsu to remove obstacles from her way. Removing Goma from his comfy palace surely would pave the way for her own rise in the ranks of the demon realm. Even if Degasu would take over after this, she could easily puppet her younger sibling, but this would still require time. Would she truly be able to keep the existence of this child a secret for that long? Would she be able to raise it, mold it into a warrior that she needed? She was a glint of science, and she had some power, but this might not be enough. She could, certainly, resort to more drastic measures and imprint only loyalty and lust for combat within this kid, but an organism that was so adaptive should be his own individual. She knew that. She was like that, a free thinker, being able to adapt to changing times. Her perfect warrior would have to share that trait. And honestly, raising a mortal child so close to her enemies could arouse suspicion, and the whole thing would have been over before it even began, especially if the rumors about Dabura were true. She looked at the charts. If trained correctly, this mortal thing could rival her old master in strength in just mere decades, something that for a margin would feel like a blink of an eye. And knowing the worth of a rumor, if the king's absence truly had something to do with him falling under some kind of a spell of the wizard Barbady, wouldn't she have to prepare for this eventuality eventually? In other news, she was dealing with someone that could become a possible rebel leader, a symbol for the margin, and that wouldn't be so bad, as it would have made her extra popular if she just were to take some precautions, as it were, and make sure that later in life there would be some kind of an imprint from this child onto her. Imagine how easy it would be to convince the margin to follow her if their liberator would just ask them to. This felt risky, but this would mean working much less in the open, that in the case where she would have to raise this child herself. But who would do that for her? Where would she put him? Oh, of course, she cackled again. This old man at the rest stop had given her a very good idea. Well, I guess he really did talk too much, hadn't he? But before she would hand him over, she would have to take some more tests and prepare some fail-safes, just in case. Oh, and visit Marva. Oh, she was going to love this. Also, this little ship of his would be going on to provide Arinsu herself with plenty of great ideas. The margin warrior known as Amazoness respected the value of a good sleep and did not appreciate it when her guards woke her up in the middle of the night. "I'm sorry to bother you, ma'am, but it is quite urgent," the wolf-like soldier said, rather sheepishly. Funny because, wolfman. Amazoness sighed loudly and quickly put on her armor. As they both ran down to the castle gate, she realized that this whole ruckus had been caused by the warriors circling something. That something was a tiny boy, a toddler, wearing armor. He had weird spiky hair, a monkey tail, and was clearly trying to bite. Oh, and he lacked spiky ears, so that was already crazy. What in the name of Rhymus is that? Amazoness raised her eyebrows. Well, it was in a basket with a message, but he woke up and bit my finger, said one of the soldiers, still cradling his hand. What kind of message? Amazoness looked at this weird, savage child, clearly scared. I think someone pleaded with the king to take care of this thing. Well, then someone should wake up His Highness. I think he might be interested in what's happening here. Maba? Dr. Aransu released a smoke circle, smiling slyly. Yes? The witch, who was busy looking at the whole scene taking place at Kadan's castle through a magical cauldron, raising her head, was surprised that the Glind had addressed her at that particular moment. Didn't you want me to see if this whole transaction was going smoothly? I am sure that at this point everything will go smoothly. I wanted to ask you, do you know what every hero needs? Arinsu herself took a gaze into the cauldron, smiling when the massive frame of Kadan appeared to investigate. Strong will, courage, strength. There are lots of cliches to choose from, you know. Maba sighed, not fully understanding what the royal scientist was getting at. A prophecy. Arinsu let out another circle of smoke. We need to find a way to spread a new legend of a mortal boy who one day will liberate all the margin from underneath a tyrannical rule. So, what you're trying to get at is to invent some kind of false legend? The witch chuckled, amused by the idea. My dear Maba, if it is going to turn out true, would it still be regarded as false? The witch said nothing, as they both watched the king and his daughter slowly but surely calm down the beast boy. Everything was going according to plan. And that's where we're going to be leaving things for right now.